Welcome, friends, to this second week of Advent. This season is the twilight before the sunrise of the Nativity. It's a token of hope and promise, and this is revealed in the symbol of the rainbow, interpreter of sunlight, invoked at the altar at this time of darkness. The seven colors showing themselves as the deeds and sufferings of light. At the inception of the rainbow, we find creation and incarnation. And at the rainbow's end, we receive the second coming, which we can liken to the pot of gold, right? Guarded, as the legends tell us, by the leprechaun, an earth elf, right? Sort of, I think of it as representing the guardian of the threshold. And the place of the human being is to stand, in upright, this place, the apex of the rainbow. It's the height of the arch, becoming the bridge connecting the worlds. And when we flip over this vision to go over the rainbow, right, we view it from the other side, and it becomes a chalice waiting to be filled. So in the first week of Advent, we tapped into the physical mineral kingdom. And now in the second week, we add on, bringing in the plant kingdom, which rules the etheric realm. Okay, so who, what, where is that, you may ask? Well, I picture the etheric body as an aura, an esoteric atmosphere that surrounds a physical mineral body. It's the animating force that sustains and gives vitality. And yes, every living thing has an etheric body. And we can picture the life body of planet Earth, right? Can we just get an image of this etheric body of Gaia, the living being of the Earth? This etheric realm is especially connected to the plants, which we're going to focus on and tune into and honor this week. So the plant kingdom teaches us how the formative forces can take hold of matter and lift it up into the light. So during the winter months, these vital forces go inward to fortify the roots in the mineral kingdom. And in the plant world, nothing exists for itself alone. All the roots are interconnected. The plant world reveals this as a pure revelation. Everything is interwoven in an ecology of mutual support, a united living totality of beings. And spiritual science gives us wonderful depictions of the elemental beings that are the essence behind the plant world. We can picture the group ego of a plant as being located at the center of the earth, as well as existing as potential in the light ether connected to the sun. And I love this imagination of the gnomes, right? This is the earth elementals who rule the mineral kingdom. We talked about them last week, right? They help they make the roots grow down into the darkness of gravity in order to anchor themselves in these depths. And underground, all the plants are communicating with one another in an interlocking, living cooperation. We can think of the taproot of trees, right? Or the miracle of the mitochondria. So much is going on under the surface. And then above ground, on the surface of the earth, during the growing season, the plant also strives heavenward. And with the help of the elemental beings of warmth, traditionally called the salamanders, and the beings of air, sylphs, along with the undines of the water element, and the sylphs, right, the beings of air. The herb plant unfolds its consistency, ever evolving body into the light. So it's really stimulating, I think, to contemplate how the four elements work together in the etheric realm where the plant kingdom resides. So the forces of the etheric world are working from the periphery, sort of spiraling into the center, generating these forces of levity, which draws the plant upwards toward that light, the light of the sun, making them a reflection of the stars. And during the winter dormancy, the human being can hold and nurture the memory of how matter is resurrected every spring. We talked a little bit about memory as being connected to the earth element. And the stages of the plant, how it grows, really shows, from the breaking down of the germination to the building up, becoming a seedling, rooting and leafing, and the interrelational miracle of pollination, right, leading to the flowering and the crowning achievement of the fruiting. We witness how the life force sprouts and grows and adapts and changes before giving up its seeds again as it goes into decay. And through the flowering, the plant unfolds in ever higher octaves of fragrance and color. Reaching its peak, the plant gives unselfishly of its fruits. And working in tandem with the material world, the plant becomes life-giving food, nourishing the animal and human kingdoms, and then it dies away. And in this death process, it completely surrenders its essence to the seed, feeding future generations to come. And this year, what has come up for me when contemplating this second week is my work with the Rose Cross meditation. So the Rose Cross, right? It's a potent symbol of Rosicrucianism. It's an imagination of the Black Cross adorned with the 7 roses, the 7 red roses, uniting the material and spiritual worlds through a stimulation of the etheric realm. So the cross represents our physical existence, while the 7 roses denote the unfolding of spiritual wisdom. And in building the supersensible imagination of the Rose Cross, we fertilize the black, carbonized death forces in the burnt wood of the cross by cultivating the pure, chaste beauty of the 7 red roses, which can blossom through the training of our inner development. So I always think about how the 7 opens us to the mysteries of the 12. And so as we go through Advent and the 12 days of Christmas, there's an unfolding there. So by ennobling and lifting into consciousness the finer etheric life of our sensory experience, we build upon and spiritualize our nervous system to create new organs of perception. So along the Rosicrucian path, we are striving to rise out of the tomb of the physical body, out of purely materialistic thinking, to an awakening of etheric sight, using imaginative living thinking, imaginative cognition, which creates a loosening of our vital formative forces from the shackles of the sense-bound brain. And the reality which the spiritual seeker is called to cultivate, especially at this time of Advent, is a calm, receptive opening to grace. And we can picture how the deep darkness of this season brings the soul of the world, the anima mundi, into the center, into the core, the womb of Mother Earth. At this time, the in-breath is at its height. There is a pause before the water breaks. Mother Earth holds her breath, holds the center, where the Christ I am gestates. And the group ego of the plant kingdom, bearers of the etheric life force, also reside in the interior of the earth at wintertide. Their essence is, like I said, concentrated in the root, bathing the dark womb with their vital chi. And when the physical sunlight is at its lowest ebb, the etheric body of the earth receives the full potency of the spiritual sun. And so does the etheric body of the human being, giving us a special opportunity to tune in consciously to new clairvoyant perceptions that are available in the etheric realm. So when we meditate on the black cross of suffering and death, moving our imaginative cognition to develop a living picture of the 7 red roses, the essence of wisdom as crystallized pain joins with the power of love, inducing the timid buds to sprout one by one from the black mineralized wood, becoming fertile with fragrant roses in full bloom within us. So I wanted to, you can't really see it here, but I have my little altar here going with the first light. So do the second one here. The second light of Advent is the light of plants, root, stem, leaf, and flower. By root and seed we live and grow. Two candles then. And because we have a etheric or life body which sustains our formative forces, we're alive. Death occurs when the etheric body withdraws, and the mineral world reveals its true reality as death. So by working with plants, by studying and communing with them in loving attention, we learn that we can perceive and understand this cyclical miracle of life. Circle of life. So go on, have a conversation with Gaia. Chat up your houseplants, yeah? Give an offering to a tree. Oh, Tannenbaum, forever true your color. How oft at Christmas tide the sight, oh, green fir tree gives us delight. Oh, Tannenbaum, you fill our hearts with music. Yeah, the carols this time of year. I don't know, is it too early to put up the Christmas tree? We got ours the other day. I thought that maybe we would try and enjoy the tree during this Advent time. maybe we could call it an Advent tree for now, or maybe you call yours a Hanukkah bush. Although actually Hanukkah, which means dedication, celebrating the 8-day festival of light, comes at the same time as Christmas this year. So that's kind of interesting. So yeah, no matter what or if you celebrate, being in community reminds us that we share a common atmosphere, like the plant world. Our auras are intermingling, whether we're conscious of it or not. And it's interesting to notice how we're drawn together. Is it only the bloodlines, or are we creating conscious community? Are we being drawn together by our sympathies and antipathies, or by tradition? Or can we really learn to perceive and respond and direct our own etheric essence so that we're not unconsciously driven? We can feel ourselves as being part of a larger, greater, common aura, a Christic aura that we all co-create together and share. So be conscious to protect ourselves too, right? We have to protect ourselves and put some boundaries up, that, healthy boundaries against the negative narratives. That's important. And yeah, because there's a lot of things out there, right? As we talked about last time, trying to distract us and pull us apart, etc. So for me, doing Qigong and especially eurythmy really helps in my perception of this etheric realm, where these vital forces emanate from, both within myself and in the world around me. So with attention and practice, we can learn to affect our physical body through consciously moving our etheric body. Yeah, we can practice feeling the life force pulsing in the space within and around us. Right? You can feel it. And we can explore molding and sculpting these forces with our articulate movements. And when we work in this realm with a dedicated intention, we are also able to release the elemental beings from their material enchantment so that they can become one with the Christic forces available in the etheric realm surrounding the atmosphere of the earth, revealing in turn this supersensible realm to us, where the cosmic being of love awaits our perception and participation in what can be called the second coming of Christ in the etheric, enlivening the formative forces that we share with the earth. So to achieve this, we must meet a test. So in this second week of Advent, we encounter the trial by water, admonishing us to fortify the virtue of love in our feeling life. So discretion, there's self-restraint. These things will help us to meet the water trial. When we practice benevolence, bonhomie, right? Gemütlichkeit, kindness and fellowship. This will support us in building empathy and truthfulness in the face of the societal temptation to accept and perpetuate the blind, convenient lie. So in the water trial, we encounter our feeling life, which is still quite dreamy, like the plant world. And so in this second week of Advent, we are called to bring thought into this realm, giving us the ability to see beyond the propaganda and the subconscious programming. And then we can judge our emotional waves objectively. working to understand what inspires our feeling life. We're also challenged to bring will into our feelings. Then we're really able to guide them. That helps us to practice equanimity. It's about balance and discernment. So through the water trial, we're tasked to manifest a reliable faculty of judgment. And I find working with the foundation stone meditation is a great resource. We can practice spirit mindfulness in balance of the soul. Practice spirit mindfulness in balance of the soul. To be mindful, to observe without agitation, to have that balance. This brings in an understanding of what influences our feeling life. We can be mindful of how much of our feelings actually belongs to us and what they're trying to convey to us, or how much is being fed to us from outside. And since our feeling life is still so asleep, when we bring in the soul force of thinking, we're able to discern our feelings more objectively in order to better understand what is moving through our emotions. Emotions, what's moving our emotions. And when we bring will into our feeling life, we're able to guide these emotions. We become the captain in charge of sailing our ship. Yeah, I mean, it would be dangerous to go out on the water when you're asleep, right? So we can't steer the ship if we're allowing the floodgate of all of our uncontrolled emotions to hold the wheel. I know I do that all the time, working on it. So I'm glad to have this opportunity to really navigate this water trial. And I think first of all, we get a sort of a prefiguring of our next trial, which will be the air trial. So, to deal with the water trial, we have to be conscious of our breathing, right? That really helps to settle and find that place of balance in our emotions. When does our breathing in start? And when does the out breath end? Right? We can find that middle point in between, like we talked about with the rainbow and with this in and out breath that happens with the breathing of the earth, right? That moment of equilibrium in the heartbeat, right? The temperance point of balance where morality can rise to guide us. So this brings us into contact with the second hierarchy. And this is the realm of wisdom, opening us to not only an equanimity of soul, but a balance in the material world. This brings us into a Christ consciousness, in tune with the being of love, who came to earth in order to bring spirit and matter harmoniously together in us. And the water trial helps us to become more objective. We can observe things more objectively, and we can see the motion in our souls so that we don't drown, right? Or we don't live in denial. Denial, right? That old joke about the Nile, yeah. But the Christ impulse really takes us safely through that stormy chaos of the world. Being temperate brings the half truths of the Ahrimanic deceptor, into perspective, so that we can find our way to live in truth. Practicing the virtue of prudence helps us avoid the bloated egotism inspired by Lucifer, so that instead we serve up an enthusiasm for the highest good for all. This is the law of love in action. Christ in us allows the false egotism and the materialistic lie to die. so that both can be reborn again as altruism, guided by an everlasting truth. In Christo mortimum, in Christ, death becomes life. Death is seen as a harvest in the plant kingdom. And the trials of Advent help us cultivate our soul life so that we can grow new spiritual organs. And so it is that this week we practice breathing underwater. So I guess we'll see you in the pool. Blessings, dear ones, and peace.